the United States sends 6. You have to be pretty lucky to get one of those. It's not just a talent. Actually, I want to say right now, and actually this is a good time to emphasize the following. You should not do math competitions with the purpose of trying to win, because you will be disappointed. Let me tell you why. Because you try to win this one, then you go to here. When you try to win this one, you go to here. Go to this one, try to win, you go to here. Now you're ready to win this one, you need to be top 6. And you know what? After you do this, you can still try to win. Actually, one of the guys I brought was number 2 in the world last year. So this is in the entire world last year. But then he came this year, and he was not number 2. In fact, he was something like number 6. He was disappointed in the world. So don't just try to win, okay? Actually, what I want to say is, I want to tell you all of these things are around, actually mainly to give you a context for doing more math, you see? Because if there's nothing like this, you just have your school math, and then it may be boring. You may be just doing the same kinds of problems over and over again. What is special about these is that people actually spend time to invent interesting problems. Problems where you might have to use some trick, and not just apply something that some people taught you. Right? So these things are much more interesting sources of problems. Actually, I'll tell you, when I was in high school, I was in public high school, nothing special. And so it was easy, right? I mean, you go home, you finish your homework, and then what do you do? Play some video games? Well, you could. You could hang out with friends also. Or if somehow you thought these were fun problems, you could do them. I like to do them. I mean, if you can't tell, I like math, right? I cannot talk about anything without having some math. And I want to tell students, you know, if that's you, don't be shy, you can do that too. And then maybe you'll get better at math. And in the world, there are not only 6 math professors, or else there wouldn't be much room for you guys to be able to here. So you should just try to do things because it's fun. So now that gets to the next thing. How to prepare for this? Okay? I guess that's a question usually people ask. So to prepare for this, my answer is it's not just by memorizing lots of things. In fact, the only way to really learn math is to try the problem yourself. And to do that, you actually have to be interested. That's why I'm trying to be enthusiastic. I'm trying to convince people to do this. I'm talking to students, not to parents. I want the students to realize this is actually something that could be fun. You will see interesting tricks. Okay, why not? Another interesting trick. Let's do it. I cannot tell. There's another problem I wanted to talk about. And this one, you can understand, even if you are probably in 2nd grade. Actually, for parents who are very young kids, it's very valuable if you spend some time and try to figure out what components of these advanced problems you can translate into a language for your young kids. Because this, in my opinion, all of this stuff is brought on way too late. So here's a problem, okay? I draw you a circle. Circle. You can tell I used to teach geometry in the Math Olympiad training program. I now do combinatorics, where I don't have to worry about circles at all. But anyway, I used to teach geometry. Okay, so I will draw you a square inside the circle. This is a square. Okay? Sorry, it's not right angles. Square. Let me tell you that the area inside the square is 1. I won't write down the units, okay, just 1. Now I draw you another square, which is just outside the circle, but it touches the circle. Okay? If you've already seen this before, please wait like 2 seconds before you let me answer. But I drew you now 2 squares, right? Now what I want to know is how much of the area is between the 2 squares. I want to know what is this? What is the area? Wait a few seconds. I want everyone to think of it. Give it a shot, and after about 10 seconds, I'll tell you a goal. Okay? I want to know the area inside of that. Yeah, it's between the 2. I want to let people. So you only actually, well, people are trying. Let me also say, the way I usually teach these classes. So actually, I also. For fun, I also coach the math counts team in my school. Right. The way to do coaching for parents, we'll talk about this too. The way to do coaching for parents is that you want to let people have the time to try the problem. You cannot just show the answer right away. The whole challenge is to try. So now I think some people have tried, some people have answered, but he's answered too many again in yellow. Yes, you.
I think it's 1.
You think it's 1? Doesn't look like 1. It is 1. It is 1. Okay, why? Why is it 1? Why is it 1?
Oh, it's because the area, the inside one is 1, so it's not going to be 1.
Okay.
And the diagonal is 1 squared root 2.
So they said that this is 1. This length is 1 because the area is 1, right? And then she drew the center and drew this, and you got a right triangle with 45 degrees and 45 degrees. And whenever you have a right triangle with 45 degrees and 45 degrees, and this is 1, there's something called Pythagorean theorem, which says that you take the square of this plus the square of this, you get that. Actually, you get the square of that, but the square of 1 is 1. So that means each of these is 1 divided by the square root of 2. So now what she just figured out is she figured out that this thing is 1 divided by square root of 2. Now what did you do?
Double it up.
Diameter.
Yeah.
So now she said, but it's a circle. So this thing is 1 over root 2. So is this, right?
Yeah.
They're both 1 over root 2. So this thing here is 1 divided by square root of 2. Oh, but she did the whole diameter. This is also 1 over square root of 2. So you put the 2 together, you get 2 over square root of 2, which is
Square root of 2.
square root of 2 is this entire length. So what's the area of the big square?
2.
The big square is 2, and the little square is 1. You did 2 minus 1, you got 1. Great. Very good, very good. I want to show another way. This is to appeal to the younger people, because you should see many ways to do the same problem. Actually, what I always tell my team is, don't worry if you solve it. Listen to the other solution, because math actually is about connecting the solution. It's not about just solving one way. Okay, so I have this nice picture. Let me erase all the stuff inside so that I can draw a better picture. But still, you understand the problem is that you want to find the area outside the square. Okay? So you want to know the area that's between the square and the other square. Do you agree that the area will be the same even if I turn this square until it's like this? I can take this square and rotate it inside the circle until it's here. I will redraw you the square now. This actually, what I've shown you, is one of the secret tricks, which is useful when you do math competitions. But this is only discoverable, essentially, by yourself. After you play with this enough times, when you do enough problems, you start to experiment and figure stuff out. This is something I figured out myself a long time ago. Okay, now I still want to know the area between the inside square and the outside square. Do you know anything about where this point is compared to those two? The middle, it's exactly half, right? So these are exactly half. Now I'm going to erase the circle too, because the circle is now just a distraction. Now, I want to know if there's a logical way. Can anyone see a logical way to say why there's the same area inside the diamond and outside? I had a 5th grader who figured this out last week. Yes, you. Yes? Yes! He cut it like this. Right? He cut it like this. I'm really sorry you guys cannot see it. There's a reflection. But he cut it like this. And he said this inside part is the same as that outside part. Right? This inside part is also the same as that outside part. And this is the same as that, and the same as that. Okay? So this is the other way to do the problem. And this one, anyone can understand this, even the kids. And this is the other way. Okay. So now, about how to prepare for this conversation. Again, the way this is an experiment. Actually, why don't we set this up at the same time while I talk? So I'm going to push this way. Right? We're just going to set up there's a little video clip I want to show you at the very end, but while we're setting up, we will keep talking. So, how to prepare for this contest? You need to want to do it. Okay? Bottom line, students need to want to do it. But at the same time, what can make it more fun to do it is if you have a community that does it. You cannot do it on your own. Or you can do it on your own with your parent, maybe. But again, what I'm trying to emphasize is you should not just do this to try to be one of the top 4, because then you will maybe go on the top 4 in Georgia, but then you have another problem, right? You cannot just do it for competition's sake. It's an inspiration. It's a way to bring together people. You need to bring together people. And the way to do this is actually, in my opinion, the best way is if the parents help and the students help. I should tell you what I did when I was in math class. The coach of my team, actually, was not a teacher. Teachers are very good, and I have respect for the teachers in the American system. But the coach was a parent. He also was not a math professor. He was an engineer at a company that makes, at the time, it made the most plastic bags in the whole world. Any shopping bag you buy, his company made. But let me tell you, if I expect my 5th grade students in math class to learn the math, anyone can learn math, right? So he got interested because his daughter was interested in math contest, and he became volunteer. He was the coach. He ran the whole thing. The teachers at the school did not that at all, and he was teaching not just his daughter. Actually, he taught everyone. What is the benefit? Usually, people would say, if you just coach other people's kids, it might be at the cost of your own. Maybe. But you have to really think, you expect your own to be the top one in the world anyway. That's a lot to expect. Actually, you might benefit more by getting a large group of people all interested, because he, as a coach, got a large number of people at the middle school interested. And this, we all work together. Now, what happened to his daughter? Well, his daughter did fairly well. She actually was outdone by some students, of course. But eventually, she went to Stanford for undergraduate, went to MIT for a PhD, and is now a professor at the University of Michigan State University. She learns even though it's to a large group of people. So I should say also, right, I'm coaching a large group of people. I'm trying to inspire them. If anyone wants to get involved, you have a big community there. If you invest into the school, if the students decide to do this too, then you can have some, oh, I have this too. Yes. Right. So what you need to do in order to get very good at this, you need to have a community where people will like this. For example, in school, so in school, usually people don't do math all the time, right? In fact, people usually don't talk about math so much. But what I'm trying to do, for example, in my middle school, that my kids will go to in 5 years, is try to make it so that people will talk about math. By making it so that there's a lot of it. So this is connected. Now we'll see. This is supposed to get let's see what happens. Okay. But the point is you need to build a community where people will be interested in doing math. And my dream is that, for example, in the school that I'm involved with, that people will actually talk about math in the hallways. Because I'm giving them hard puzzles over the weekend. So another thing I want to talk to students, but unfortunately, so this is it not? Oh, it is plugged into the screen. This not connected to the menu.